Today's topic is so if you haven't seen this show, it's this is my talk show kind of channel. I'm doing a show where I kind of examine things to do with the game industry. It's called Auspex because that has a couple meanings. One is it's a term for a soothsayer or priest who would interpret omens and guide decisions. Also, in the Vampire the Masquerade role-playing game, it was a vampire discipline that allows vampires to use extraordinary senses to see and hear and experience things. So I thought it would be a good name for my vampire Logan persona. And so today I'm going to talk about Blizzard and Overwatch a little bit. And I normally have been just doing things with Critical Role recaps, but I want to do this because it's something that's been kind of on my mind since the downturn of Blizzard in the past few years. So coming to a head right now. So I'm calling this episode Blizzard is doomed unless they do some of these things. So I have a list of things that I think Blizzard needs to do in order to survive, at least in the way that they have been. Now you may see that there are a lot of good games on this. I'm a huge Blizzard fan. I'm not down on them because, I'm a hater. I've played most of these games. I was a huge World of Warcraft player for a long time. Before that, I played Warcraft 1 through 3, and I played Diablo 1. I played some Hearthstone, Heroes of the Storm, and then I came across Overwatch, and I became obsessed. I also played a lot of StarCraft 1 and StarCraft 2, but when I got to Overwatch, I kind of got really obsessed for a while because I had never really been into first-person shooters, and I kind of found kind of the best of both worlds. I'm mostly a strategy role-playing game kind of player, but I found the characters very interesting in Overwatch, and the gameplay was kind of strategic in the team play. It turned out to not be as good in that area as I thought, but I'll talk about that in a minute. So I guess my history with Blizzard goes all the way back to the first Warcraft game, and they were the best kind of well-balanced kind of RTS out there. And especially when StarCraft, original StarCraft came out, it was a three races, evenly balanced, and it was an amazing accomplishment on their part. When World of Warcraft came out, they were the top of their game on a genre of games. The MMO came out way before that with games like Ultima Online and EverQuest and things like that. Before them, they came out in the fantasy genre, which a lot of the MMOs had been for a long time, and they kind of just blew it away and took over. Subscription became a thing, and it was just actually, I guess subscription was there before that, but they kind of made it justified that people would pay monthly for what they were offering. And it was great. It was awesome. The first few expansions were really good, all the way up to Witch King. From there, it kind of petered off. But they had, and StarCraft 2, when that came out, it was a huge throwback to their original RTS style games. And it was nice to see that. It was fun. They had a very competitive scene. It was one of the games that got me first into watching and trying to play games competitively, and seeing that esports could be a thing that could blow up, and it definitely did. in a large part due to things that had already been set up in StarCraft 1 for elite groups of people, and then expanded out in the ESL and stuff like that. And then they did, other people kind of caught on, and League of Legends took off, and other games came out. They tried to do the same and follow up with Heroes of the Storm, which I thought was a great game. A lot of people panned it a little bit, but it was a very user-friendly, kind of easy way to get into that genre of game, the battle, the MOBA. And I thought it was, I didn't like the other MOBAs at the time. Dota was too hard to get into, and League of Legends was also high learning curve. But Heroes of the Storm was easy learning curve, and kind of had all the fun elements, and a lot of the unfun elements, like trying to figure out how to upgrade your equipment, were just gone. Plus, you know, the fact that the team would level up together instead of you kind of being a detriment to your team and not leveling up as fast as them. So, or the experienced players. So it was really good in a lot of ways. That kind of opened it up to a lot of players who might have been turned off by the highly competitive and toxic nature of other MOBAs. And then Overwatch kind of took that concept and ran with it into the first-person shooter around a time when a lot of first-person shooters were going towards Battle Royale. They kind of merged the popularity of MOBAs with the popularity of competitive first-person shooters, and it was amazing. It was, I think, their best game to date. So, but then, they got kind of, I think what happened is the owners or the leaders of the game got arrogant and thought they could not do any wrong. And I think that happened, maybe not as much to Overwatch, but in World of Warcraft, they kind of started making expansions that just were not as great as the previous ones. It started when they started going back and recycling their old Warcraft material, going back to Warlords of Draenor, which is the history and the past of Warcraft. I don't even know really how they explained how that was going on, but still current. I didn't really get how you could go back in the past but still be present in the present day. It was a weird time travel kind of thing. And so I thought they kind of lost their way a little bit, but Overwatch was still cool, so I was right into that. And Heroes of the Storm was still cool, but I just kind of transferred over to Overwatch. They kind of killed their own game with, I think Overwatch kind of killed Heroes of the Storm because it had everything you wanted, but it was a lot less time commitment, and it's just more it was simpler in some ways and more complex in other ways. The strategy was definitely more complex than Heroes of the Storm. But then Blizzard also had, I guess, a large, we've just found out that they had a large history of mistreating their employees, sexual harassment, and all these kind of things. There was just so much disgusting things going on there that I think it came from the arrogance of their success and thinking they could get away with a lot of terrible things. And I think, and even some the people who weren't involved in that kind of stuff kind of turned a blind eye to this stuff. They didn't want to make waves. The people who were doing this stuff were in high privileged positions, and I think if you see the type of looks like I just got hosted. Cool. That's awesome. Anyway, just so to reiterate, I'm just talking about Blizzard and what they can do to kind of save themselves. So I just had been going over the history of Blizzard and how great they were, but also their arrogance led to a kind of a meteoric fall. And I think there's a few things they need to do. They've got a chance now to save it, I think, and they're in a pretty difficult position right now that a lot of people have examined and taken a look at, and I just want to get my 2 cents worth in for that. So the first thing they need to do is they gotta fire this guy. They gotta fire Bobby. He's just, I don't even know if he's responsible for any of this stuff, but he let it happen. He helped some of the people who were doing it. He's just, he's a albatross around the company's neck right now. He's also one of the people who is in charge of a lot of the direction they've been going, which has been the wrong direction. And I think losing the kind of ideas of that made them really great, which was gameplay first and making games that are fun and well tested and very well balanced. And the games have not been as good in the past several years. So I hear that if they get rid of him, there's some kind of cost involved where they have to pay him out or something for him to leave. But and I don't know what that cost is. It's somewhere in the millions, I think. But I feel like if they don't get rid of him, this albatross on their neck is going to last longer and pull harder the further they go. And they just got to eat that cost. Like they have to get him out of there. He is, whether he did anything or not, he is an image of that kind of old school of Blizzard that did a lot of these things. The arrogance, the male privilege, all the things you see here. Basically, he represents that, whether he did any of that or not. So they got to eat those losses to get their reputation back. They just got to do it. Next, as soon as they do that, they need to hire or promote from within a strong, capable woman. And normally I don't agree with affirmative action type things, but in this case, they really have to put a woman in charge to send a clear message to people that this is a new company and a new direction. So, but they have to be someone capable and not someone who's going to have, a woke agenda or anything like that. They need someone who's just going to go back to the standard of quality that Blizzard is known for. And they need to put her in sole leadership position, not just like the fake out that Bobby tried to do, where putting a woman as a co-leader of the existing man that was there and then sidelining her. That was just a bullshit, and that's not going to work. People are not going to fall for that. And so they got to do it for reals this time. Put a woman in charge, give her the role. The only option I think they could have it of not putting a woman in charge would be if they were able to hire back Jeff from the Overwatch team, because he is definitely known to be not one of these type of people, and people love Jeff. Anyone who knows him personally seems to love him, and anyone in the company or fans of Overwatch or their other games basically respect Jeff. So if you can get Jeff back, you can put him in charge, and I think that would actually be even better, because he's known to the company and he knows kind of a lot of stuff about the games and what needs to be done to make them fun. He cares about the games. He cares about Overwatch. He worked for a long time on World of Warcraft. He's a player. Also, whoever this person in charge is, whoever is put in charge needs to be a player of most of their games. So they need someone who knows how World of Warcraft works from bottom to top, from playing like a solo player to playing as a team and doing raids. They need someone who knows that stuff. Not, it doesn't need to be the best person, but they need someone who plays the game, and they need someone who plays Overwatch. You can't just put someone in charge of this company and not have someone who plays these games. Just really making a lot of bad, not well thought out decisions that don't reflect what the players want or need. After they get their management sorted out, and this may also involve like changing a bunch of other leadership in other teams and other, their liaison with Activision. They got to kind of sort that out and make sure that they can do what they need to do without interference from Activision, and things like financial decisions that they need to be separate from financial decisions, because the finances will come if Blizzard's reputation is restored, but if it's not, the quality will go down and players will just leave. They're already leaving in droves. World of Warcraft has lost I think half of its players already to mostly to Final Fantasy, and that company is going with gameplay and players first as a strategy, and it's working great for them. So they need to do that. The next thing they need to do to save Overwatch is they need to get Overwatch 2 sorted. Overwatch 2 is the whole hopes of the Overwatch franchise is been heaped onto this Overwatch 2 kind of new game concept. They want to resell the game basically back to the players by calling it a sequel. But the thing that needs to be sorted out is it's not a sequel. It is a PvE add-on to Overwatch, and then also trying to change the PvP in ways that they hope are going to be better for the game. But the problem with that is nobody believes that it's a sequel. Everyone, when they show people things, everyone says that looks just like Overwatch. It doesn't look any different. It doesn't feel any different. Yeah, they're making it 5v5 instead of 6v6, but that's just another game mode. It's not going to fix the game. So I think my opinion is that they should just stop calling it a sequel, and nobody's, because nobody's fooled by that. And then make it an expansion pack, and just stop putting all of their hopes and dreams for the Overwatch franchise into this Overwatch 2 bucket. It isn't gonna, they're setting themselves up for failure and disappointment, and it's gonna kill the franchise, because it's not gonna save the company, it's not gonna save the game, because it's not big enough to do so. It's got too many hopes and dreams attached to it. So just stop calling it Overwatch 2, stop making it a sequel. Say it's going to be an expansion pack. Go back to like business as usual. Get your management sorted out and go to business as usual. Make an expansion pack that has, the PvE stuff as a worthwhile addition. Price it appropriately, and get it out the door as an add-on piece. It doesn't need to fix all the problems in order to be a valuable product. People will buy it. It's like the campaigns that were added to StarCraft 2. Those were all like sold for decent prices, and people bought them. And they even split it out so that the regular StarCraft 2 game was free, and then you could just buy the campaign stuff, and that was totally fine. People bought that. And I would have bought it too if I hadn't already bought all the collector's editions, but I'm looking up to find them, but I already packed them away. Yeah, so just treat it for what. Stop trying to bullshit people. Like, that's the big problem with companies these days. They're always trying to BS their audience and sell them things that aren't exactly what they promised. And Blizzard used to have a reputation for delivering more than what their games were worth. You know, like, I mean, I personally think I got way more than my money's worth out of Overwatch 1. I would have been happy to pay occasionally for, you know, some expansion packs, or even some of the new characters. Like, I would have paid just to be able to use those, or something like that. I would have paid for additional content, if they had been upfront with it and said, okay, well, you've paid for this game now, we want you to you know, buy this other thing we're coming out with. We're gonna release a pack of 4 new characters, and if you pay for it, then you can use them. If you don't, you can't. Like, just put that in there. Most people would just pay for it and not complain. Although other companies are kind of giving that stuff away for free, so you kind of gotta match what other people are doing. But Blizzard used to get away with just charging for stuff, and people would just pay it. But just be upfront about it. Don't try and pull one over on people, or be all secretive about what you're doing. Overwatch 2 is having super difficulties with communicating what it is to fans, and it's not going to go well for them if everybody's got their own expectations for it. It's just going to end up being kind of a brain dead moment, like the whole don't you guys have phones kind of thing. If they miss the mark on it for what the fans actually want, you don't need to guess at what the fans want. Just ask them. Everybody's here to fucking tell you. Like, it's no brainer. Like, the way games are made in the modern day is you have a fan base. I mean, most game companies would love to have the fan base that Blizzard has to work with, and make use of that fan base to help you make your game. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to like figure that out. So just be honest with people and start engaging the audience. It's so simple. I don't understand why they like to do things a different way. And then the next thing they have to do for Overwatch is to get Overwatch 1 sorted out right now. Like, stop dragging it out and making us all wait. Figure out what you want to do with Overwatch 1 and PvP, and just do it now. Like, if you want the game to be 5v5, do it now. You already got the stuff in play. Like, and you know, you don't have to like delete the existing, you know, comp. You can still leave it 6v6 for that, but put 5. They already have shown that they can do an alternate version of the game with the experimental card. So if you can do that, replace the experimental card with 5v5. You know, put that up there and let people test it. Like, what have you got to lose? People try it and don't like it, and then you know that you need to do something with it differently, and you can fix it. But if you spend all this time, like, it's been going for 2 years now. They've been working on Overwatch 2. They don't know if the fans even want 5v5. It was when they started doing polls about it, on a lot of the YouTubers' channels, it was like 50-50 whether people actually wanted it, but they didn't know really because they couldn't play it. So just get it out there and start doing, you know, regular bounce changes schedule on it. I mean, what are you gonna lose by doing that? You're not gonna be able to sell it later. Like, just take it down and then sell it. What, you know, you just tell people it's a beta. You get to play it for free, and then you're gonna have to buy it later. Like, you think people are gonna complain that they had it for free and then they don't have? Just tell them up front. That's what you're gonna do. You're gonna have to pay for it later, but right now we're gonna let you try it out. It's so simple. And right now, that, you know, skins can be done right away for you know, anything that's on Overwatch 2. Like, just give some of the skins to the players, and they already can do that now. So I guess it's like they'll just keep pumping those out. And then new characters, just, you know, give us some new characters. They don't need to be, you know, if they're only balanced for 5v5, then put them into 5v5 and let us test them. You know, we don't need to have this big reveal. Does anybody really care if there's a big reveal? Also, if you put them out there right now, people will start to love them, and then they're more inclined to buy the game when it comes out, so they can actually get the official pack with these characters in it. It's like there's the whole secretive, you know, we got to sell this product when it comes out and get people involved. With Overwatch, you've got millions of people who want to play this game. Like, you don't need to make it a secret. Like, there's no the secret is done. People already know about it. Same thing with StarCraft 2. It's like they didn't need to be secretive about it. They just, like, I remember seeing one day it just came out, and I was like, oh really? They redid StarCraft 1. Wow. And then they redid all the graphics in 3D. It's like, okay, cool. I would have bought it even if you told me like about it like 5 years before it was even made. I would have totally bought it anyway. It's not like anybody's out there like who liked StarCraft 1 is gonna say, I hate StarCraft 2. I think it sucks. Like, people are gonna want to buy the latest version of it, and everything's switched over to it in their competitive. So they didn't need to be secretive about it. And then and that kind of goes along with that. The other thing they need to do is just they need to get the audience back into communication with them. They need to fix communication between the devs and the player base, like the players and also the content creators. The players love the games and they're sitting there waiting for more information about it. You got these content creators who are like just trying to make up stuff and looking for leaks and you know, scraps of information to build to do hype about the game for Blizzard. Like, they're right there sitting there. You don't even have to pay them. Like, they're already making money by doing this, and they all they love the game. They want to talk about it. Like, just give them information. Let them disseminate it and say it in the best light possible. Like, just tell them what you're doing, and then they will, you know, some of them might flame you, some of them might say it sucks, but so what? At least they're freaking talking about it. Like, get people involved and get people to help you hype up your game. Even bad press is not necessarily bad for your game. Other people will see the bad press and go, hey, I don't believe that, I'm going to check it out for myself. You know, it's not always a, you know, it's better than this kind of bad press, right? You don't want this kind of bad press. This is the kind that you should be avoiding, but this kind, you know, like, you know, and this kind here too, you don't want this to be happening, but you don't have any control over this. So what you do have control over is this impression you have control over. You can get people to be involved in knowing what's happening. Like, where can I go on here to find out about what's coming out? Yeah, something about Warcraft brawling battlegrounds. You know, when's the last time we talked about Overwatch here? December 21st, and just talking about the latest skins. When's the time before that? I mean, these other games even have like constant content coming out. You know, Hearthstone is still adding cards and stuff and actual gameplay. They're doing, they're sunsetting Grandmasters. I mean, yeah, maybe some stuff's going on there. I haven't really been following Hearthstone, but yeah, just get better communication. And this is bad communication. This is one-way communication, like just putting out your news and updating your news blog. Like, come on, man. This is the modern day. We got people who can hype this up in a better way and videos for you. The next thing they need to do is, so they got to fix the comp in Overwatch Overwatch comp is terrible. It is not. It's stagnant. It doesn't have any. The game is now balanced pretty much since the last 2 years. They've been doing small balance changes, but they haven't added any new heroes, so there's no like upsets that happen anymore. They got to put new characters in the game to get that balance, like to shift and be vibrant and be keep it entertaining. If you added one character to Overwatch right now, tons and tons of people would come back to check out that character. It would like be a huge bump to the game. But fixing the comp is difficult because the comp is a broken thing because it has two different ways of experiencing it. One is you want to be in a casual game, you want to go in and you want to just play your character and maybe switch around characters that you like and play the characters you like. That's one way. That's like more of a casual experience, but they've included that in comp. The other way is you want to get in there and you want to really be competitive. You want to tackle the strategy. You want to use like a team communication. You want to like get in and really do what competitive should be. It should be all that stuff. But you have these two competing focuses, and then you don't have any. Your ranking system is based on individual performance, and it's not a game about individual performance. If it was like a battle royale, then yes, that would make sense. But if it's a team game and you want it to be a team game and you want there to be interactions between healers and tanks and DPS and them to all be different and each character to seem very different, you need to have a team-based ranking system, and you need to decide whether you want it to be team or you want it to be casual. You can't if you do both, it's muddied. If you want to do either or, then you split your player base and you may have longer queue times. So my opinion is that if you want it to be a competitive game, then make it a competitive game, and the casuals can play quick play and they can play all the other game modes in arcade. If you're going to play competitive, you should only allow serious people who really want to play the game strategically and to win. That should be comp. Comp should only be that. And if that is true, you should have team-based rankings. There shouldn't be just people popping in and playing Overwatch comp. They should come in as a team and be prepared to work together and play the game properly. And if they don't know how to play the game, like they don't know how to group up and stuff, then working as a team and playing always and have your ranking be based on that same team should be the only way you can play. And if you leave that team, someone else, they have to replace the member to be in that team. And this, and along with that goes a whole bunch of other things. So you need a way to group up and team up that is like a permanent thing. So you need to form a team, create it, and then have your team-based SR be a part of that. And then when you play together, you're bumping up the value of that team. And if people don't work out or they're just unwilling to learn how to properly play as a team, then the team can self-regulate that. There's no reason for Blizzard to be involved in that. All they need to do is facilitate it. So they've talked for years about why don't we have guilds in the game or clans or whatever they want to call it. It needs to be there. If they've already started working on that, if they just started working on that like 4 years ago, we could have had it properly set up and in place by now. There's just no reason for that. They had stated a reason a long time ago. I think Jeff was on, and I know he was not happy with this answer. He said that he was told that if they were going to do guilds, they needed it to be something for all of BattleNet, and it needs to be tied together. And I was looking at that going, that is the stupidest thing I ever heard. Why would you need why would you need your guilds to be cross game? Who cares? Do you think anybody who's playing Overwatch really cares about their World of Warcraft character and their World of Warcraft friends knowing about their Overwatch game? I mean, they have so much stats in their system. Like, couldn't they have just looked at that and said, we got, how many people do we got in this in this game with all the information about them? You can't go and look up how many people who play World of Warcraft play Overwatch. If that number is not astronomically high, why would you even care about that? And even if it was astronomically high, they're two totally different games. When I want to team up to play Overwatch, it's not even the same concept of teaming up to play a battleground in World of Warcraft, or like playing Hearthstone. You can't even play Hearthstone as a team game. So the only games that would matter for are Heroes of the Storm, which is, they've kind of declared it kind of dead. They stopped all the development into the esport, and they just put it into maintenance mode. There's no way that game needs guilds at this point. If they had done it maybe sooner, then maybe that game could have been saved. But it in Overwatch, they still have a chance to make this into a huge team game. And so just get that guild system in there. Make it specific to Overwatch. It doesn't need any, because there's a bunch of other systems I'm going to talk about that would be tied into it that need it to be Overwatch specific. So the next thing they need to do, after they get team-based SR and player-created teams and guilds, then they need to let player organizations arrange tournaments and give them the support to do it properly, using whatever tournament rules they want on their on the team game, on the competitive game. This should be kind of the proper path to pro. Not that everybody who plays in competitive is really going to ever get to pro, but it needs to be played like the players see in the pro scene. When I go to watch League, which I hardly do anymore, Overwatch League, it's just such a different game, and I can't experience that game because I don't have a group of people dedicated to actually winning the game. When I go on to play competitive, I feel so lucky to get a team that doesn't throw the game, or like a bunch of players who all work together and try to win the game. Like, that is so rare in Overwatch competitive, and that's ridiculous. The game is competitive. Everybody in there should be that way. Why would you be in there if you're not? And the whole Smurf problem is like, that's going to be hard to deal with in any case, but at least in a competitive environment, that they will, if there is a lot of movement and your team is based on the team SR is based on the whole team, people are going to be trying to get Smurfs on their team and get and learn from them, instead of having them on their team and just either the Smurf is throwing to move down in rank, or the Smurf is rising up for the hell of it because it's so easy. It just disrupts the whole SR system all the way up and all the way down, because the people's games are being ruined by someone who's obviously not supposed to be there. Whereas if you get team-based SR, the Smurf is going to have to commit to staying on a team. They can't just go in and Smurf and then throw and then move down. Nobody on the team's going to want them to throw, and no one's going to let them on their team if they're going to be that way. So if you do get a Smurf and they rise you up, that team is going to rise up and they're going to learn how to play the game properly with the Smurf. So people are going to want to play with Smurfs, and that'll be a good thing, I'm sure. And if that team rises up in rank and then Smurf leaves, then they'll fall back down in rank. Or maybe they'll have learned enough to to stay in that rank. I honestly don't think carrying in this game is actually, if everybody was trying their hardest, I don't think carrying would be as much of a thing. And a Smurf would end up moving into a leadership role of telling other players how to best play their roles. I think it would actually give Smurfs something to do that would make them more useful and be less of a problem in the game. And then the player-run organizations or player organizations running tournaments, like that just gives you more of the, incentive for everybody to kind of try harder and do more in the game. So, this also allows the player organizations to police for the Smurfs, the throwers, the griefers, all those problems that I have in comp would not go away fully, but would be much reduced because the players are policing their own teams. And if you want to make a full team of Smurfs, they're going to rise up. I mean, when you say it's a team, you can make them rise up a lot faster than you can in current comp. So maybe there's going to be some people who are trying to, as a group, throwing and then as a group rising, but I'd rather they do it as a group than individually messing up each person's game. At least if they're doing it as a group, they're only screwing up one team's game per session. Another thing that I would like to see happen that would actually help the company, may not be so popular with the players, but I would say allowing players or the company to charge for their tournaments. And so this would hopefully weed out the non-serious players, or maybe the company takes a cut from that. But I think the revenue from that should just be used to support the actual game or the actual community that's doing the tournaments. So it gives people more incentive to do those things and to run those tournaments. And it's money well spent for the company, because it's going to engage the community, it's going to give them something to do, it's going to get people more involved in serious Overwatch play. And there's stuff you can do that makes it a little more official. There's lots of things you can, special like handling of, like, if they want to do a tournament with like character bans and stuff like that, just give them the tools. We already know those tools are possible because people have done it in the workshop. So just make use of those tools to build something that another system on top that players can use to get themselves and their friends more involved in the game. They also need to do something, in general about the bad players, because even if they fix all the comp and make it a team-based thing, they're still going to be in there and they're still going to be messing around with the games. It'll be a lot less and more policed by players, but I think once they've got that sorted and the problem is reduced enough, I don't know if you've seen Blame the Controller, but he's a YouTuber, and he has a suggestion. This was a while back, like maybe 2 years ago. He has a suggestion that the internal player base, some other game has something called an agent system, and they go and have people review footage of games, and then they give them rewards for doing that, and then they get a reputation for being someone who can do that stuff, and is trusted to be policing the game. And it's basically just a free, giving away free stuff in the game is an easy way to get players to do a lot of the job that is so difficult to do by an automated system for you. So an agent system where the agents go and look at VODs of games to see if there's cheating going on, if there's throwing or anything like that. It's usually pretty easy to see. I watched a few of BTC's attempts to do that himself, and it was so easy to see the throwers. They did such stupid things that they can be reported. And once you get a really good system in place, and with a bunch of people who really want to make the game better and who have the time to sit there and police these things, and you have decent rewards for them, you know, like special skins, or I don't know what. There's lots of things they could think of for rewards that show that they're to distinguish themselves from other players, and you know, whatever those rewards are, you could see, oh, this guy's an agent level 10 or whatever. He's probably a good player, or he may be a good player, or at least a trustworthy player. I would love to see those ratings, and I would only want to play with people who are doing that kind of thing, because they're doing the good work of keeping the game free of the disruptive players. So yeah, making rewards, skins, badges, whatever they need to do. Maybe we can have consumables in the game that give you a minor like quality of life benefit or something like that, like or something tied to the socials of the player, like you get a free, you know, tournament or something. You can build up your guild with stuff like that. So lots of systems could be tied into a guild system or a team-based kind of a ranking system. And, you know, I think these kind of things, you know, are something that just, it's so obvious to me that, and it's been obvious to me for many years. I've been like thinking about this stuff over the course of 6 years of playing Overwatch. I think I started thinking about the team-based SR like 2 years ago. I did a rant on it on one of my first videos in my channel, in my YouTube channel, and you know, I just had a really bad game that day, and I was like, why are we being ranked individually in a game that's a team game, and my ranking is being messed with by other people throwing and dicking around, or even just like not even being a good player. Like, why would I play with someone? Like, why am I stuck in bronze? Because I keep ending up playing with other bronze people who either are new or just don't know, or like are just stuck there, same reason as me. You know, if I could pick and choose the people that I play with, or we could form a guild and gather like-minded people and get other, you know, the better guild members to kind of teach everybody how to play properly, like mentoring and stuff like that, like rewards for that stuff, you know, teaching people how to play the game. It's like, there was a Stylosa just recently did a video about doing changes to game mechanics to make the players learn better about how the game works, like having, instead of having people get staggered and then the players don't know that staggering is bad, and then they just keep charging in by themselves or in small groups and getting decimated. Like, it happens a lot in bronze. And you know, you could either, you know, change the game mechanics so that like when they lose a team fight, somehow the game detects it and sends everybody back to the spawn point, and then they are automatically grouped up. But that seems crappy in my opinion, for the game to take over that element. A better way is I think my way, where you have a guild for doing comp, and the guild leaders teach you the proper ways to play the game, so that your whole guild and each team in that guild can like level up together in knowledge. I mean, it works great in Warcraft, World of Warcraft, and why not, you know, especially, and World of Warcraft isn't even a team game. It's like, it's just for people to like hang out together a lot of the time, unless they're playing Battlegrounds and stuff like that. But so it's not even essential in World of Warcraft, but it is essential in a team game like Overwatch to play competitively. I don't even know if World of Warcraft has any actual competitive functionality in it, but if they did, you know, they already got guilds and stuff to do that stuff with. And then, so like, those are a bunch of ideas that I think could be done fairly quickly. And for those who don't know me, I am a game designer. I work in the video game industry, game designer and programmer, And so I've done systems like this before. I worked on a game for Capcom that had this excellent tournament scheduling portion to it, but the game was an ultra casual game for mobile, and so they had this awesome like player versus player scheduling system and tournament system and all these different ways of doing it, and it was like way over. They wanted to basically make casual games into an esport, and it was just, I don't see anybody watching that. But that tool could have been used for something like Overwatch. The scheduling part was just scheduling and ranking and recording scores. I'm sure Blizzard already has something they could use. They could steal a whole bunch of stuff from WoW, I think, and just customize it to Overwatch. Even if they couldn't do that, like just writing something like that from scratch is just a worthwhile effort. And in the past 2 years, they've been working on Overwatch 2. I'm sure a team of network programmers could have done something like that on the side, preparing for integration into Overwatch. It doesn't need to be done with the whole game. It can be integrated later. So that's just not entirely true. It would have to be tied into a lot of the rules, and a lot of things would have to change for it to work properly. Like a team-based SR would just be a totally new thing. But you know, it's just, there's just a bunch of things. It's so obvious to me. I don't understand why these things aren't the focus. Making the game better for competitive players is the longevity of the game, and they're wondering why the owl, like viewing is dropping off so much. I think it's like half of what it used to be, or even less than that. And it's because people don't, like, I got frustrated watching it because I don't get to play like that. And I'm sure a lot of people think that way. They watch it and they're like, well, that's fun for them, great that they can play that way. The whole team knows their role and does their role, and when they play, it's like, yeah, they're coordinated. They still, it's hard to win and hard to lose, easy to lose, but they're playing a different game than we are down in the low ranks. And even when I played with like golds and other players, it's like the game is not that much different in gold versus bronze. You end up with some bunch of gold players, the individual players who rank themselves up just because of a technical skill, and then they're stuck in gold or plat, and so they come back down to gold or all the way down to bronze sometimes to just like dominate with their technical skill. And it just ruins the game for everybody because we're not playing as a team, and neither are they. They're not, even if they aren't throwing, they're like not playing as a team. They're just like, or like they're in pairs or something. There's like a far mercy going on that nobody can touch because the Pharah knows how to use cover, and the mercy can stay out of sight, and then they just pop out and pick people off as they need to. Or someone playing like a bastion, shielded bastion tank, bastion and healer combo. It's like there's a bunch of things that are impossible to beat if you got skilled players doing them, and they just come down and they do that to the low level players. It sucks. If they had a team based SR, the team would have to overcome the other team, and it would always be a team versus team game, and the people who played on that team would get better and better because they would learn each other's like strengths and weaknesses, and they would eventually learn not to trickle and not to do all the like obvious failure things that cause the game to be lost, and the game would be much more fun overall. Everybody who plays comp wants it to be that really, white knuckling kind of thrilling game where you're just barely, one team wins over the other team. Like, that's what everybody wants to play. And what they end up getting most of the time is they get, like yeah, I don't even like it when I dominate the game. I mean, it's better than not than being dominated, but usually the games are like very one-sided, and there's some smurf throwing, or there's somebody like soft throwing on there, or someone just doesn't know what they're doing, and then it just ends up like being a shitty game. And you could still have shitty games with team-based SR, but at least they're going to be, the people are going to be trying and to learn something from it, and there's going to be a lot less of people trying to screw with the game, unless they're a whole team of people doing that. The last thing I want to talk about, and then I'm gonna sign off and send this video to my YouTube channel. But the last thing I want to say, hang on a second. That's better. Is a response to streamers saying that Overwatch is dead. I don't think the game is. I mean, it's all relative, I suppose, but I don't think that the game is dead per se. It's that people who are still playing regular, they'd have to still be playing. A ton of people are still playing it because queue times aren't ridiculous, at least at lower ranks. I don't know what it's like at higher ranks, but I'm sure they have a much harder time with queue time. But the game is currently in a very well balanced state. A lot of people still think certain characters are OP, and it will never be fully balanced because some characters are OP at low level but not OP at high level. So that's just the nature of those characters and what they do, and how high their skill ceiling and floor is. But if the game was a little more dynamic and think more things were going on, people wouldn't be so bored with the game that they have like Smurfs ranking down and up on purpose. You know, you might have a lot more good close games. I mean, this is not even considering using any of the suggestions I have above. If they just got this game to be more fun or more dynamic, have new things being added to it all the time, you know, you're gonna have less boredom with people who still want to play the game, but they're bored with their rank, or they're bored with whatever, and they just want to grief somebody, or even if they just have a bad day because the games are so shitty that they want to grief or throw or leave. You know, there's no consequence to that really, except for the reporting system, and the reporting system is not working. I also hear a lot from streamers saying, you know, they're saying Overwatch is dead. It's kind of just a, you know, clickbait title, and I have to admit I'm putting a clickbait title on mine as well. But if the streamers say there's no content, it's like, yeah, there's no content for the game, but come on, man, you can't think of anything to do for content. This one goes out to people like Stylosa, who are like only looking for news about the game to talk about. You can create your own content, and you know this. Highlight player created content more. If you are a streamer and a popular streamer, play a game, you know, from the workshop once in a while. Like, have a scheduled day where you play games from the workshop. Try out a new one every week. Like, there's a show for you. Every week you can play a new workshop game. You know, this is easy. You don't have to make a complicated video about that. You don't have to do a lot of editing. Just play the game and see what it's like. You can play a bunch of them in probably one sitting. You know, you try one out, it's crap. You know, try another one out. If you really want to be prepared beforehand, try out a few and find some good ones, or get recommendations from somebody. But it should be easy to make a show about that. That's content. Also, this is something that Blizzard could do to help. This is, the arcade could have one workshop game in a card that changes every day or week, and then allow players to vote on the one that's going to be next, or vote on the one that's already been up there, or vote the best one of the month. I don't know, like, that would bring some life to the game. I would definitely go and play if they picked good, because I looked at the workshop and I don't know what's good in there. If someone's actually curating that and saying, here's a good one, here's a good one, here's a good one, and picked out the good ones, and then made a game on a card on the arcade for it, I would definitely check it out. But going into that workshop and looking for something, I don't know what's good. Half the stuff I try is like stupid. So there's the thing. And then we just need something to involve the players and the streamers more. And again, I go back to player run events. Like if you're a YouTuber, a well-known YouTuber, you could run events for the players. Like, you have the reach and the kind of platform to make your own player run events. I know Jane was doing this for a while, and it was awesome. I loved watching that, and I would have loved to be a participant, but I wasn't a Patreon member of his stream. And he was doing a bunch of things with his patrons who were, like, would get advice from him or something. And Stylosa does this as well. You can get a player to come in and get some advice, or you can get a team of players and do scrims for them. That's what Jane was doing. He also had a thing called the could a bronze player play with plat players or masters, and putting a low ranked player in with a higher ranked set of people and seeing how they do, and letting them be the leader and stuff, and trying to show them what the game is like at that level. That kind of stuff, I wish there was more of that. I wish that was a part of the game, like doing that should be built in. But streamers can do it, and I don't see a lot of that anymore. I think they're losing interest in the game too. A streamer could also hire a skilled player to create some game changes in the workshop, and then organize a small challenge tournament or scrim with that mode. So if you're a streamer and you're thinking of ideas that people might find entertaining to watch, like I had an idea, and I'm just gonna throw this out there. You guys can do this. Someone can do this. Just send me a thank you or something about it. But my idea was to do a 3v3 tournament where the 3v3 game was gun game. So that's the one where you kill a person and then you go up to the next level of character. But in this game it's a 3v3, so the players are working together, and they're trying to, and then the order that they're going to get the characters in is known in advance, so the players can arrange themselves to make sure that the right person in their group gets the killing blow, so as to level up their character. Or they just play like randomly and normally and just rank up as they go. But they could do it strategically so that they have a nicely combined group or team to help them get through faster. So that could be something that someone could run a tournament of. I wanted to do it myself, but I just don't have the reach of audience to do it. So I don't know, like those kind of things. There's lots of ideas like that you could do if you just sit down and think about, well, what could I do to make the game more interesting to watch, or more interesting to people who want to play it. And streamers can definitely, I wish I had the audience reach of Stylosa or Jane. I would get players to do stuff all the time. Like, get your audience to do stuff. Like, arrange for them to meet on a certain day and do scrims with them, or meet on a certain day and do, try out a certain game mode that you thought was going to be fun. I do a game every week on my stream called Fun Day Monday, where we try to do a sort of meme-ish strat that me and a couple of my friends try to make interesting to watch. It's not always so. At first I was doing sensational things like, dressing up in a costume or talking in a character's voice or stuff like that. But it's more fun to just try to do some kind of strategy, just to test out, or alt combos or things like that. We did one time where you're trying to just get lots of headshots. We did one where you had to do death from above, so you could only use your ult by dropping down from above, from high ground somewhere. things like that. Like just make it interesting and make it fun for the people involved. So I think that is all I currently have to say on Blizzard and Overwatch. I guess I talked mostly about Overwatch, but I'll do a little bit about before I go about World of Warcraft. Actually, how much time have I put in here? Does it say how long I've been on? Oh, live for 1 hour and 20. Yeah, you know, I'm gonna keep this short because I want to post it on YouTube. So I'll talk more about World of Warcraft because I know some things about that and what's happened with it. But I haven't played it since Pandaria, so I'm not really in the loop of the latest stuff. But yeah, let me just end this video here. So the conclusion is there's a bunch of things that Blizzard can do. Overwatch is not dead. Blizzard is not dead, and there is a roadmap to where they can get back to their former glory, in my opinion, and save Overwatch. But they need to get rid of the toxic people from the company and from the player base, and they need to communicate better with the player base and the streamers, and they need to sort out their games and no bullshit, deal with the games in what is best for the player, get back to what's best for the player and not what's best for making money, because they are the same thing. What's best for the player is what is best for making money. If you don't have the first one, you can't get the second one. And if you do too much of the second one, it's going to kill it. It's going to eat itself. It just doesn't work. People have tried it, and it's always short term. Okay, that's all I'm going to say. My rant is over. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. I am going to go... okay, hold on. I'm going to raid somebody. I think I have a group of people watching. It's hard to tell right now because I had that boost from the Diva Mechanics, but anyway, I will talk to you next time. We're making progress.